Hi everyone, my name is Savannah De La Rosa, and today I'm going to be discussing my infomercial on hallucinogens, otherwise known as psychedelics. So, here is the agenda and the topics that will be covered. I'm going to be discussing some background and other information on hallucinogens and psychedelics. I'll also be discussing issues related on these drugs. I'll also be discussing a personal experience as well as my thoughts on the awareness integration process and my mission statement and collage at the end. So let's get into it. So, if you couldn't tell already, I chose this sort of theme to kind of give you guys a sense of what it's like to be on these types of drugs. Um, Although it isn't like a perfect representation of the effects that are felt when someone is on psychedelics, I felt as though it is like somewhat of a representation of, like psychedelic hallucinations and experiences that that one goes through, like the intense colors and the flowing lines and the weird patterns and stuff. Um, However, I don't want to glorify anything because we are here to talk about the issues of these drugs. And just like any other drug, psychedelics, have the ability to, give us that high that people are addicted to. So it might, look pretty and, seem like tantalizing and all that, but we are going to get into the realness of it all. So let's get into it. So here is some background and information on hallucinogens. So, according to the Drugs and Society textbook, for centuries, individuals who were able to hallucinate were seen as sacred, and it was said that they were to be receiving sort of divine messages, and people even thought that they were controlled by the devil. Um, Before the 1960s, mescaline, which came from the peyote cactus, um, was obtained from chemical supply houses with no restriction at all. And it wasn't until the social upheaval of the 1960s that caused more people to abuse hallucinogens. It was actually because Timothy Leary, who was a Harvard psychology professor, that made psychedelic drugs popular because he had mentioned that these drugs allowed people to get in touch with themselves and achieve serenity within themselves. So yeah, this led to the hippie movement where individuals use LSD and other drugs to escape from society. Hallucinogens were also used by Native American religious groups, and they use psychedelics for spiritual experiences. And this is why these drugs are actually looked at as having sort of like a supernatural association and like a mystical association as well. So, according to the Alcohol and Drug Foundation, hallucinogens and psychedelics are psychoactive substances that produce changes in mood and perception. They alter a person's mind. They change, sense of time and emotion, as well as causing someone to hear or see things that do not exist. Some commonly used hallucinogens are ayahuasca, DMT, LSD, mescaline, psilocybin, which are also known as magic mushrooms. So here are some issues related to psychedelics. According to the American Addiction Centers, chronic use of psychedelics can cause hallucinogen-induced persistent perception disorder, which is when someone is still getting flashbacks to their last use of the drug. It can be, weeks after they used, or even months, or even years. And some of the symptoms include, flashbacks of last use. Obviously, they might even see flashing lights or colors and other visual hallucinations. Um, Some other risks of taking psychedelics are mixing with, another substance that could lead to overdose. They also have the potential to develop other substance use disorders, and they can even lead to an individual getting hurt or even death. I've actually heard of people thinking that they can fly while they're on LSD and then they end up falling to their death. So it's pretty scary, pretty risky. As for personal experiences, I have never had a bad experience with psychedelics, but my dad told me a story about how one time he was on LSD when he was a lot younger and he was seeing all sorts of scary things. And he said he felt like he was in hell. And so he ran out of the house and started running from what he thought was the devil chasing him or something. And he found himself in the middle of the street. And he remembers almost getting hit by a car, but luckily his friends helped him. And so, yeah, he hasn't done that drug since then. So pretty crazy. Now moving on to the awareness integration theory. So here are the three categories that have been affected by the AIT process. So the first one being my career choices. I honestly have never felt like more secure and relaxed when thinking about the future than I have like now. I used to be someone that would stress a lot about what I was going to do in the future, and I never really had like a lot of passions, and it would really like bug me. But lately I've been letting my heart just like lead the way, and I'm a lot more, go with the flow. And this process has definitely helped me understand that like my career choice is meant to be whatever it is. And I shouldn't dwell so much on the future, and I should just go with what makes me happy and what I want to do in life. So yeah. Another category was my identity. Again, I am just living life and not really caring as much as I used to, or not really caring about how others perceive me. Um, this process has helped me remember, who my true self is and my true identity. And even if I do have, identity crises along the way or here and there or whatever, I know that I'm able to not let it affect me as much. And then the last category is my spirituality. I am a lot more open with my spirituality now, and I think now I tend to seek the meaning of life through like nature and through energy that I surround myself with, rather than thinking heavily on the afterlife or whether or not God will accept me and all that. Although I do have a relationship with God, I'm still a lot more open to finding my spirituality in many different ways. And whatever that may be, I know that I'm at peace with myself and what I believe in. So, this is my mission statement that I have been practicing a lot lately. And it's basically to just live passionately with an open heart and open mind, and always be optimistic to, new beginnings, and embrace the pain that comes in my journey, because it makes me stronger, and it means that I'm truly living and, growing as a person. And I truly think that believing this has helped me remain, satisfied with my life so far, and it's made me really excited for the future. Here is a small snippet of who I intend to be in the future. I have a picture of an airplane in the clouds because I want to do a lot of traveling in the future. I have a group of friends here because I want to make more friends. Um, I have this picture of someone who is very grounded and stable and just like satisfied and calm within themselves, and that's who I really intend to be in the future. And then I have someone with the key to success because I want to be very successful in the future. I also have a smiley face because I want to be happy. And then I also have this pyramid of my needs. and I hope to reach self-actualization at one point. Think I'm, getting there. I have a lot of these needs already, but I hope to reach self-actualization at some point. And overall, I have found this exercise to be very eye-opening. I don't ever really talk about my feelings, and I sort of got to treat this process like a small journal and write about my feelings and all that. And I'm honestly very grateful for this class because it's allowed me to be open with myself, and never would I imagine actually showing other people like my deepest secrets in a way, and like showing a collage of who I want to be. So this is very different for me, but it's very relieving and I like it. So thank you so much for listening.